Welcome to the 5 Mu Alpha Season 5 LCS. Tonight featuring Ligmabobwe and the Bung and the Restless. I will be your play-by-play as Legends MK, and with me on Colorcaster is Rob. What do you think we have to look forward to tonight, Rob?
We have one of two things to look forward to. These are either going to be two of the quickest games of the season, or we will have two of the greatest upsets of the season. I believe in TBR.
I like that. There's talk in the back about how TBR is a lot stronger than their record shows. What do you think about that?
I think with the current roster, after some mid-season roster changes due to some stuff going on, I think they are a little stronger. I do think they have potential. Unfortunately, I don't think that they've meshed as quickly as they hoped. But we are in week 9 here. So with 3 weeks left, you never know what can happen.
That's a very good point. All right, well, let's start on the underdog side with the Bung and the Restless. What do you think? Their secret picks, or what else? Could they do to win this if they had to come up with something?
I think we have to put Menbung on something that can help him early. With the sub on the side of KB tonight with Labby, I think you can kind of abuse that. I think Menbung is a little better than Labby and can definitely get some early pressure on the lanes.
Wow, I like it. And if you're talking about Ligmabobwe, how do you think they just play this out to continue to secure their first spot in the standings?
Player game, expect some cheese, and be able to adjust in game if the cheese does come out.
Yeah. That seems like a pretty simple game plan from the side of Ligmabobwe. I hope they feel the same way. If we're thinking secret picks, do you know of any from either team here?
As far as secret picks, I don't really know any secret picks. Greg has already played the Nautilus. I think Nautilus is kind of strong right now. I don't know if Juice Me Mommy will play Nautilus mid. Nautilus mid is kind of the secret elo climber right now, flavor of the month, if you will. And then Kaligi in the top lane is just going to play his standard tank damage, more bruiser kind of carries with Scion, Urgot, and Kled.
That makes sense.
I think.
But I'm going to cut you off here. Because we are into the pick bands with Ligmabobwe on blue side and the Bung and the Restless on red side for the first game. What bands do you think Ligmabobwe should throw at the Bung and the Restless while they think through this too?
I think a good band would probably be Skarner. I think Garner's a pretty good pickup for Menbung. And then maybe some mid band here for Clumsy Chocobo. Maybe a Syndra band. The thing with TBR is that they've played quite a bit of champions randomly throughout the entire season. So as we see, probably a restart coming in here to picking bands.
Yeah, it just seems there were some name issues that threw some confusion in the wings. So hang in there with us, chat. We're about to restart this pro draft.
Leave it to the Chad.
All right, so while they set up this whole restart here, what do you think the first pick should be coming out of? How does Ligmabobwe abuse his first pick strength?
I think if you look in the terms of what they've played, Caitlyn Sivir, you probably want to pick up your bot lane first here for Ligmabobwe. I think Kaligi is kind of your carry, so you want to give him the counter pick in the top lane. And then Juice Me Mommy can play something pretty safe, Xerath, Vladimir, Karma, kind of something that'll just sustain in lane. So I think you want to pick up your bot lane early. So first pick, probably that Sivir coming in for them.
Yeah, that makes sense with how strong Bear Jr. has been on that Sivir all season long and how consistent it has been to start their fights. And if you're the Bung and the Restless, with that double pick coming in on red side, how do you think they should play this?
Something that synergizes mid and jungle. I think if you can synergize mid and jungle early and get um, some of that early lead in the mid lane, as we know, Mami is probably um, one of the weaker players on the team. So if you can abuse that mid lane, get a little bit of a lead there in the mid lane and be able to roam around the map as your mid lane and jungle duo, I think you can kind of take some of the early pressure off of your team and get some of that map pressure leading into hopefully a good team fight late game or mid game.
Yeah, and that definitely alludes to the point you made earlier about the fact that there's going to be little synergy between KB's sub jungler and their mid. But we jumping right into these bans as the bans have flown by. Caligula Bombway has opted to take away Menbung's Rek'Sai and taking away Clumsy Chocobo's LeBlanc, two champions both of those players are famous for. While the Bung and the Restless have taken away Bear Jr.'s Comfort Ezreal and Kaligi's Classic Kled. We finish up these bans with the Ari ban on Kalinga Bawe side against Clumsy Chocobo, sending two bans his way, and then the Morgana ban from the Bug and the Restless away from Gerg7, my apologies. So we'll see if Kalinga Bawe follows your idea here of the Sivir pick. And if they do get the Sivir pick, what do you think they should follow up for here?
If they get the Sivir pick here, TBR is probably going to pick either a counter AD carry, or hopefully they go with that mid jungle pressure.
Instead we see Kalinga Bombway picking the Jarvan 4, a pick that Menbung is known to play well. So maybe they're just trying to pigeonhole away from his comfort junglers.
You know, that is a little bit surprising because Labyrinth, who is the sub for KB tonight, as New Turk is out. That's one of Labby's more comfortable champions, but he hasn't necessarily won a lot with it. So if we go over to...
So, perhaps...
He has picked it 6 times this season, so...
Oh, wow. Well, perhaps with a different team behind him, he can make that Jarvan shine. As we look at the Bung and the Restless side, instead of taking their mid-jungle combo as we suggested, they have elected to take Kaisa first pick here, and probably followed up by their support. And there it is, the Galio. What do you make of this?
It's a very aggressive bot lane if you're able to burst down the champion quick enough. However, if the Sivir is picked, it's kind of it'll be kind of countered with that spell shield that Sivir provides to herself. So it's a little interesting to pick your bot lane early. I guess they feel pretty comfortable on that. So looks like the Sivir might not even be picked at all.
Perhaps they wanted to avoid leaving up the combo to Caligula Bombway, but it looks like Caligula Bombway is electing to go with their classic overplayed Lucian Braum. And when I say overplayed, I mean successfully overplayed, as they have piloted this plenty of times this season to victory.
Yeah, it looks like was the Lucian picked? I see the Braum pick.
Not yet, but I'm assuming for now. Wow!
They did hover the Lucian.
An egg in my face as they pick Bear Jr.'s favorite champion, the Yasuo. I can't wait to see this. What do you have anything to say about this pick?
One of these teams is very confident. So, we'll have to see how this lane goes in the bot lane. I mean, with the Yasuo Braum, they're 2 melee champions coming in. With the wind wall, I mean, all you're gonna be blocking is Kai'Sa's attacks. But we see the Sejuani be picked into the Yasuo, so that's another thing that you can block with that wind wall.
That's a very good point. And the Sejuani does round out TBR's like tank lineup. So as we go into these second round bans, we see that TBR is taking away Ornn from Kaligi. They see that, I guess they are putting Kaligi on a tank top. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty much playing the pretty bruiser, tankier carries top lane with the Urgot, Kled, Sion. So Urgot and Sion specifically are very tanky and very damage heavy for no reason at all. as we see a Vayne ban.
Interesting. Maybe that signifies even more that they want to put Caligula on a tank, but we see Lissandra ban coming out of the bug, and the wrestlers clearly did not read the patch notes and see that Lissandra is less playable now. And we have Caligula Bobboy on their last ban. How do you think they decided to play this?
I wonder if they think that Kai'Sa is going to be a mid laner.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Or
Navak
do you,
might be in this game.
has TBR played? Does Jabberman Kurtz play Vayne top? Is that a thing?
I haven't seen it yet, but perhaps they're just afraid of it. We see a Cassiopeia ban. Are we sure Navak is not on the side of the Bung and Restless tonight? Anyway, if you were in KB's shoes, what last two picks would you be taking here?
I think to Scion. That's a good pick. The Scion's a pretty good pick into KB. However, I think KB will pick up. They'll probably pick up Urgot here, and then probably a mid laner. So they leave TBR leaves the mid lane for the counter pick here.
That's very smart. I do have on good authority that Sam Dillo of the Bung and Restless plays Vayne top quite effectively.
Oh,
So
Sam
perhaps
Dilla's top? I have the lineup wrong. Sorry.
perhaps they're trying to shut that out. But we see a Kennen pick coming in for Caligula. I believe this is the first time we've seen it on this champion in this season. Into the Scion pick.
Yeah, this is Caligi's first time on Kennen this season, week 10.
Yeah, I could be wrong, and they could be flexing it mid, or moving it mid, however they want to do. But notoriously, Kennen is a terrific matchup in the Scion, blocking those clips over and over. So, what do you think the Bung and the Restless are going to round out their champion pool with? Wow.
You'll need some heavy damage here from the mid lane. I'm not really sure what you can play here. If this were me, I'd probably play something like a Zyra or an Orianna, or even an Azir. Azir is pretty safe right now. You'll need something that does heavy damage here, as the only damage coming out from TBR is Kai'Sa.
Wow, and the Bung and the Restless decided to lock in Zoe. She can set up some heavy damage burst opportunities, but perhaps not the steady fight that they've drafted. However, on the side of Caligula Bobboy, taking Ken and Vladimir means that they can flex around those picks however they want to fit the matchup, while both of those champions are terrific in a Scion. So looking at both of these team comps, which one do you think has the edge here? And if like taking skill out of the picture, they were just both bronze 1 teams.
Yeah. I think if you're able to abuse the non-range AD carry from KB, I think TBR has a little bit of a better time in the bot lane. In the mid lane, you can kind of play a little safer with Vladimir, as Vladimir is going to be sustaining the entire time. And as you said, the Kennen does win into the Scion. So it's going to be dependent here on the jungles on what they're able to do. If they're able to abuse, if Sejuani is able to abuse that bot lane with having no range carries, and get that lane ahead, you can see a lead coming in from the bot lane there. As far as KB, they're basically they're a team fight here. You have 3 AoE ults plus a Yasuo who can ult multiple people if he gets multiple knocked up with the Braum ultimate as well. So that's actually almost 5 AoE ults there. So KB is looking here at a team fight, and TBR is looking more of a pick potential kind of thing. So we'll see how they're able to play these team comps out.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. You put it perfectly. But we see that both teams have these incredible go buttons. So if you were going to give a team your edge in the vote for who wins, who would you say wins here?
I think if we're looking at this subjectively and not knowing which teams, I would almost give it to TBR here. I think if as long as you're able to sustain, to keep those tanks healthy and keep them sustaining the damage that's going to be coming in from KB. So the side of KB, their team is going to be all or nothing essentially. If they're able to stack the ultimates, it's going to work out for them. But if they're able to, if they're not able to do that, all the damage is going to be done instantly, and with the tanks, they might survive all of that damage coming in. So I think TBR, if they're able to get a couple picks early in team fights, then the thing, or the win should go to them.
That's a fair point, and not to avoid caster curse or anything, but I also want to put my vote towards TBR, not just because they're underdogs, but I do think they drafted a better team. Uh, so if you're in chat, put your hashtag what team you think is going to win here or why, and we can discuss it while we go through this. But while we wait, as we count down, we're gonna go ahead and read off these players and their positions. Do you want to do it with me?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I will take KB. At the top, we'll have Kaligi, champion unknown yet. In the jungle, we'll have Labyrinth 1898 subbing, guaranteed to take the Jarvan the fourth. In the mid, we'll have Juice Me Mommy taking not sure yet. And in the ADC slot bottom lane, we'll have Bear Jr. taking his famed Yasuo. I can't wait to see that play with Gurg the seventh playing his Braum. Take it away.
On the side of TBR here, we do have a little bit of a lane swap coming in. So in the top lane will be Jabberman Kurtz on the Scion. We do have Menbung coming into the jungle, who is hovering the Galio right now. Clumsy Chocobo will be in the mid lane, who is hovering the Sejuani. And then rounding out the bot lane, we do have Sam Delio and Zarudo, who picked up the Kaisa and, well, supposedly Galio. So we'll see. We'll see where these champions line up on TBR.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, secret insight here, I did hear that Menbung wanted to start playing support. So maybe we'll see that tonight.
Oh, that actually would make sense because Clumsy Chocobo used to be a jungler in past seasons. Zarudo has been a mid laner.
Wow, alright, we're seeing a whole new DBR. Maybe this will be the way they pull themselves out of 12th place here. And Jirachi makes a good point in the chat. This is the first place versus the 12th place. We have a David versus Goliath matchup on our hands. I can't be more excited to see this. As we see these swaps coming around, it's going to look like Khalig's going to stay on this Kennen and Juice Mima is going to stay on this Vladimir, which is more, I think it's more standard for lanes. What are your thoughts on how they should play those top?
Yeah,
laners?
I mean, I think Kennen's more of a top laner than a mid laner right now. And then you do have the flexibility of how to play Kennen. You can either go AD or AP. The Vladimir obviously has full sustain AP damage coming in for him. So for Juice Mimami, Vladimir has the sustain, and then he's a little hard to gank coming in with the Sejuani on the side of TBR. So as long as Vladimir is able to play safe, sustain, you'll see that lane be pretty much an even or stall out.
That's a good point, yeah. And with mid lane being a lot shorter of a lane than any of the others, putting that Vlad mid definitely keeps him safe. Juice Me Mama notorious for playing safe mid-laners. Safe mid laners all season for Caligmo Babwe.
Yeah, I think that mid lane matchup is a little interesting because Zoe can put you to sleep, but if you go into your pool while you're asleep, you avoid any of the extra burst damage that comes out from the double damage of the bubble. So picking the Zoe into the Vladimir is a little bit of an interesting choice. You obviously need to get some health or the anti-health regen items soon, otherwise Vladimir will take over the game coming into the mid and late game.
That is a very solid point about the Vladimir or the Zoe Sleepy Double Trouble Bubble. Wow, into the Vladimir pool, and yes. The fact that Morello Namicon costs 3,000 gold makes it really hard for a mid laner, especially an AP mid laner, to buy it early in the Vladimir. So those are two very huge points. We'll see how the Bang Restless makes up for this. So, since we have a little time to burn through the spectator delay, have you seen the patch notes for 9.9 or even like the supposed changes?
I have seen some of the supposed changes. I have not fully read all of them though.
Okay, well that's good enough for me to ask you, what is your favorite change that you're looking forward to?
As a pretty much Lissandra main for a while, I am looking to get those Lissandra buffs back. However, Aftershock will be nerfed, so maybe she'll go back to being a straight up AP champion, without being tanky.
That's an exciting premise. It'll be fun to see her as a mage again and not be unkillable. That's a very good point. And your least favorite change coming out of this patch 9.9, if you had to take a stab?
The fact that isn't Zed getting buffed? Someone I dislike is getting buffed that I'm not excited for.
Silas is getting buffed.
Silas, I think Silas is getting buffed. Oh, Hecarim's getting nerfed. Um, uh, every person should have those couple champions that they can play in every role, and Hecarim's one of my junglers. So if he gets nerfed, I'm not gonna be able to play him in the jungle anymore.
That's a very fair point. Yeah, 9.9 seems to be rocking the game, with Whispers of the Jungle actually itself changing, with the Scuttle Crab spawning at the 3-minute mark instead of the 2-minute mark now, meaning all rats will be changing. Alas, poor junglers. So we.
Another season, another jungle change.
That's very true. That's very true. We see that very good point by Jirachi has been made that guy, I can't get names out. Samdillo is playing Kaisa bot, and this would be the first time anybody's ever seen him ADC. Have you had any experience with this?
I have not. I don't know if you just run into AD carry all willy-nilly. I think the toughest part about AD carry is positioning, especially with a Kaisa. With a Kaisa, her ult basically repositions you in the middle of a team fight. So if you're able to reposition yourself into the right area and get yourself through that burst of the team, then you'll be able to understand, or not understand, but you'll be able to do out the damage while still being safe. So maybe he thinks with a Kaisa he'll be able to reposition and be safe as you get the shield when you reposition as well.
That's a good point. And as mentioned earlier, Samdillo does have excellent experiences at Vayne top, so maybe he brings that to this bot lane ADC attempt. Well, as we look at the loading screen, we do want to consider the fact that KB has some ridiculous setups for Yasuo's ultimate here, between both the Jarvan and the Braum, followed by a ton of AoE engaged, as you had mentioned earlier. So I'm curious to see if they're able to pull off this massive fight openers versus the Bung and the Restlesses. As you mentioned earlier, those Zoe, Sleepy Bubble, Trouble picks into their own variant of fighting with Sejuani and Galio and Sion. So,
I think some of the things to think about with the Zoe pick is it was the last pick and it was the counter pick for them, but the Sleepy Trouble Bubble does get blocked by the Wind Wall. Vladimir can escape the Sleepy Double Trouble, or Sleepy Bubble Trouble. Double trouble, whatever bubble thing.
yeah.
The Braum can put his shield up once he gets slept. That blocks half the damage as well. The Jarvan can EQ out of range of any paddle star coming in from Zoe. So the only real danger for that bubble is the cannon.
That's a very good point. It does seem like a more questionable pick now. We have loaded in the game, so we're going to do the classic PMA LCS pause at 10 moment here. I'm not even counting down yet, somehow.
Neither am I.
Pause.
Pause before 10.
Yeah. Alright, so are you all of us ready? In 3, 2, 1, unpause.
Oh, let me know what time you have on the pause.
We can't actually unpause, actually. It's stuck at 10.
Yeah, but how much pause time is remaining?
Oh, none. I'm at max out.
Oh, mine says 29:30. Oh, you actually can pause anyway.
27. 6.
Okay, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
They paused it for us anyway.
Wow, it wouldn't be PML LCS without a pause, right?
Yeah, so looking at the lineups though, we'll see how much TBR is able to do in that bot lane. If they're able to freeze the lane and continuously give Bear Jr. no farm, they should be okay, I would assume.
Yeah, that sounds about right. This is a great opportunity to move nameplates and champions around, though. So we can fix this real quick. And a great point is brought up in the chat about Sejuani's Keystone. What do you think about the Guardian Keystone in the jungle?
I think that's an accident.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Let's repause at 10.
I'm at 15. I can go back to 10.
Yeah, just go back to 10 here.
11.
Alright, let me know when you're ready.
9, 10. Yep.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, unpause.
As I think the Guardian is a mistake. You definitely want to go Aftershock. But maybe I mean the Guardian might help them in team fights. You know, if any of them take damage, Sejuani is gonna get an extra shield out of nowhere. We'll see how that goes. It definitely doesn't help you early on. I think Aftershock is a little bit better for ganking. But if you're able to proc the Guardian while ganking, you'll get an extra shield for both champions there. So
That's a valid point. So maybe they can take advantage of it anyway. Plus, Sejuani doesn't really need a keystone to jungle. So
right.
maybe they know something we don't, right? We'll look at the map, and both teams are starting their standard 5-point start here. Well, really like a 4-point start, cover all entrances, don't get invaded kind of start. No early wards, but Zoe and Vladimir poised to ward that pixel bush early. Tri-bush ping is being set up by the Kennen here. So we'll just see standard starts. Both junglers starting on the bot side of the map, taking advantage of both duos for their damage on the opener. Probably not much early action coming out of Sejuani, but we'll see how Jarvan decides the path with his level 2 advantage. Kennen meets Sion in the bush, throws a little Thundering Shuriken, and gets traded with the Decimating Blow, drops his ward in the Tri-bush. Not much going on there, but he does get the Klepto stat. That was kind of good for him.
Yeah, and
that Fred. Sorry, go ahead.
That trade is definitely better for Sion. It's going to be hard for that Sion to farm anyway because the Kennen obviously has range over him. So we'll see how good he's able to farm in the tower and whatnot.
Yep. We'll see the early damage coming out of Kennen, just abusing the fact that he is a range champion versus this poor Sion. But predicted the double range coming out of the yeah, bot is taking advantage of her for the first wave, holding priority and clumsy did secure her blue on red. Those back in the effective jungles don't just clear. Looking at items here, or spells or runes, anything jump out at you that you want to discuss?
I'm gonna go ahead and take over here. You are there. Do you see coming bot lane? Obviously, it's gonna be pushing in. Oh, really?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Maybe it's you, Chad.
Are we still roboting? Okay, weird. Alright. Well, we'll see some of those Winds of War, and the Kaisa is pushing in Bear Jr. and the Gurg bottom, but Bear Jr. very skilled on this Yasuo, picking up every CS to match up, actually slightly get ahead of the CS mark versus Samdillo, but Samdillo holding his own as a top laner. We do see Thundering Shurikens coming out of Kaligi, poking down this Sion, and not much trading going around the mid lane, although Zawarudo is electing to stay at his tower, waiting for the win from him. Both junglers decided to go full clears, with Labyrinth 1898 taking that top scuttle, equaling out the farm on both jungle sides. No early ganks here, just standard farming.
Yeah, I mean, so both junglers are going to be able to clear out their jungles here. Labby did get the top scuttle, and then Clumsy Chocobo was able to get that bottom scuttle. But we do see in the bot lane that Bear Jr. does have an even CS score, which is not what you want to see when it comes to a melee versus range matchup there in the bot lane.
Yeah, it almost seems like this. Almost seems like there's not enough pressure down there. Zawarudo does land that Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Labyrinth 1898, but he just Black Dragon combos before it settles and puts himself to safety, not even taking the Battlestar follow-up. Jabberman Kerr is suffering in his lane versus Kaligi, but maybe able to keep up the CS here. Not very good of him. Neither lane taking any initiative to make a mistake. So if you were the jungler, or if you were the captain or just the shot caller for the team, the Bung and the Restless, how would you what would your move be?
I think right now with all the lanes pushing, I think your best bet's to farm up until 6 so that you can get that key ultimate in order to stop some of the or in order to CC somebody. I think as soon as you're level 6, you want to hit up that Kennen in the top lane. Because Sion is a melee champion, he does trigger your passive as well with you. So if you're able to stack up that CC pretty quickly with the Sion and the Sejuani, you can get that Sion into the tanky, beefy boy that he wants to be, and be able to do out that damage a little later on into the game.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sejuani more than happy to just play a farm war versus Jarvan, especially when Jarvan is the better early game jungler. But we'll see that Clemson Chocobo goes for that gank bot lane, not pulling any summoner spells off of the bot lane of Caligma Bobboy, but we do see the Labyrinth 1898 is in the wings here. He's just going to take the ward down and walk away. Very passive coming out of both teams, but we do see Bear Jr. taking advantage of his slight QE cooldown. I gotta get the names of these skills here. Sweeping Blade to Steel Tempest combo. And there's a pause coming up. Classic.
Oh, that looks like it was a Discord issue with that robot coming in.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's getting the robot voice from Discord tonight. Hopefully it doesn't cost anybody anything. But while we're paused, we can look at these gold advantages or disadvantages. If we look at the CS, there is barely maybe half a wave missing between each laner, with Caligma Bobboy coming up slightly ahead. However, it does say they're 400 gold ahead. I have to wonder, looking at the inventory of Kennen, if a lot of that gold difference is made due to clairvoyant or kleptomancy.
It definitely is. Sion has a better CS record right now, so I think he must have gotten lucky with 2 or 3 of those pots and stuff. As you can see, he's kind of stacked up with all those kleptomancy items, with the pilfered health potion and then the pilfered potion of rogue. And he's already got a Hextech revolver, which means he's probably gonna be headed into the AP section here for that Kennen. One thing to point out with that top lane as well is that Sion did use a teleport back into lane, whereas the Kennen walked back to lane. So Kennen does have that TP advantage right now.
Wow, that is a very big point. Maybe we'll see Caligma Bobboy elect to take the dragon advantage here. We see a terrific taunt and Winds of War combo coming out of Galio. We see that Samdillo has landed the 4-stack combo, and the Ignite might take Gurk 7 down, and it does for the first blood. Does Samdillo get out of this alive afterwards? He does not. The Winds of War is not enough to keep Yasuo off of Samdillo, and Bear Jr. is going to go forth and try to get the double kill for this. Yasuo gets taunted just outside the turret range, and they'll trade 1 for 1. Actually, with the extra gold going towards even the Bung and the Restless, however, their ADC dying whilst the ADC for Caligma Bobboy did not die. Who do you favor in that trade?
With the gold going on to Yasuo, I think that's a better trade for them. Unfortunately, the Galio did get the first blood gold, so they might, if they're able to stack up that vision maybe early and keep an eye on Jarvan, as we do see a fight top lane.
We do. We see that Kennen has elected to use all of his abilities, including that slicing maelstrom, but the null magic mantle is just preventing so much damage from the side of Jammerman Kurtz that even after 2 rotation of his spells, including his ultimate, the Kennen has actually lost out on this trade. Wow. Yeah. The Aftershock doing so much work as well. Way to go, Jammerman Kurtz, showing everybody that he can play this top lane.
Yeah, the Sion proving why Sion's a very good champion right now. So we'll see how that lane goes from here on out. Obviously, Kennen still has that range, and Sion's sitting on no mana right now. But as we see the bubble land in the Vladimir, but as I said, he just goes into full and dodges out all of it.
Wow, here we see Samdillo try to walk into the lane alone and gets punished immediately by a Steel Tempest tornado into the Yasuo last breath. An easy follow-up by Gurg just to jump to his Yasuo to get the assist, and Samdillo pays for his life trying to walk in the lane alone there.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate to die in the 2v1 there. I'm not sure why he was in lane that far up by himself.
Perhaps it's just being used to being in top lane. You don't have to worry about the 2 people. You never know, but we do have the resident Sion expert in chat, and he does bring up a good point about that Kennen fight that just happened. The Klepto is not about all-ins, and he should be just be taking advantage of poking, getting the damage down. Wow, the Sleepy Double Trouble to stop the Gurk 7 gank, and he does get out without even having to burn a summoner. Impressive.
Very good bubble. Very good bubble there to dodge out most of the incoming damage there. Greg was not able to get the passive on there to get that stun off, so Zoe's able to just walk away without any summoning spells being used there.
Very good point. We see that Labyrinth 1898 is sneaking into Clumsy Chocobo's jungle just to take a few of the small chickens away, maintaining that CS advantage, even though that only gives 1 CS now. But look, speaking of CS, if we look at it across the board, both the mid lane and the ADCs have a massive advantage starting to creep up on the side of the Upway. And we see A engage, Gertsaven hitting that Winter's Bite, Yasuo falling up for the full stun effect. Now he has the Steel Tempest charge. Galio trying to use the ultimate to save his life, but it's not going to be enough. Samdilla's going to go down before he can save his own life with his ultimate.
Yeah, the Yasuo Braum combination is just really strong once you're able to get that first passive on from Braum. Yasuo is just able to trigger the rest of it and able to get the stun off. That's very well played by them. You know, the Galio is unfortunately not able to block all of the damage. Or block much coming out from the Yasuo, as the Yasuo has that wind wall that's going to block half the damage coming out from the Kai'Sa. So we'll see how that lane progresses later on into the game.
Yep, that's a solid point, Alan. To answer the question for why is Galio level 7 in that fight, but Kai'Sa's level 5 and hit level 6 in the fight, it is because Galio absorbed 2 waves on his own when Kai'Sa died in the first fight, and then Kai'Sa walked back into lane, 1v2 and died again, allowing Galio to absorb 2 more waves by himself. 4 waves alone by the Galio. I was looking at item builds. Completed first items have come out across the board except for the jungler for Caligma Bobway, while we are nearly done with our first items on the side of Bung and Restless, but a double flash play coming out, or just Labyrinth going for that flash Flag Drag combo, name of it, even though I Mossian standard Dragon Strike combo. Regardless, an easy quick knockup followed by a stand beside me to apply the Winter's Bite, and it easily destroyed our Samdillo. How do you think the Bung of the Restless play this out from here to get back in the game?
You abandon that ship of bot lane, get the Scion to the tanky damage carry that it needs to be later on for this game. I think, unfortunately, Sejuani has not ganked the top lane effectively yet, and that's kind of what I want to see coming out from TBR here. This is a Cloud Drake that I don't really think is worth fighting for.
Nope, but we'll see that Kaligi has TP to a minion on the bot side, drops that Slicing Maelstrom to lock up Membug, but Membug's too tanky with that W ability on. We'll see Zarudo trying to clear out this ward. That Cloud Drake is already dead. I'm not sure what he's doing there as he tries to use every ability to get away. But that's the Massive Standard, a Dragon Strike combo followed by that Cataclysm will just finish him off with a slight damage bonus of Juice Me Mommy's Tides of Blood. We'll see that quick cleanup from the Cloud Drake followed by a kill going on a Click Bobway. Their lead begins to widen.
Yeah, we're up to 3,000 gold essentially. They're not able to get that second plate in the mid lane just yet. As we see Kaligi going in on the top lane.
Yep, we know Kaligi does not have his Slicing Maelstrom here, so he's just trying to add those Klepto marks and I guess stay in range to keep autoing. We'll see some ward trading. We know that Bear Jr. and 7 have the lane advantage, so they go for that red ward fight. But an excellent flash forward taunt by Membung will secure the kill on Bear Jr. right away. Now it becomes a 3v2 with Juice Me teleporting in, but he has no support damage and he's already having to pull. He might turn around and get the kill on Samdillo. Samdillo has to drop the heal before he uses that Cathian Rain and walks out of there barely surviving. It looks like in the mid lane though, Zarudo had set up a advanced damage combo on Labyrinth 1898, forcing him out of the lane. Maybe this is the start of something new.
Maybe, as we saw, it was great play by Clumsy Chocobo there to wait for the ult instead of engaging with it because it could be blocked by the wind wall, as we said in Pick and Ban. He was able to get the knockup on the Yasuo and then able to ult him, and so Yasuo was unable to do anything. By the time he used his wind wall, it was already too late.
Yeah, that's a good point. Perhaps they are on the same wavelength as you, using that Sejuani ult bot lane. you did mention earlier that's how they were going to win this, and maybe that's where they're going to put their eggs, as they're comfortable with letting Sion get farmed into by this Kennen.
Yeah, TBR's team comp relies on stacking your CC among one person and being able to burst them down, because their sustain is just so high.
Absolutely. We see that Bear Jr. Gurks haven't finally pushed to that tower, but alas, plates had just dropped and it seemed they only got one plating there. Not too many plates for either team, and Samdillo is back in lane to clear up these minions.
Yeah, I think the only person that was able to get plates on TBR was a Sion. He got 2 plates in the top lane. And I know 1 plate fell in the mid lane for the side of KB. So I think the plates were in favor of TBR, but I might be mistaken on that.
The plates actually are in favor. No, well, if you look mid lane, you can see that Juice Me Mommy has gotten quite a bit of damage on that mid lane tower, so I can only imagine that plates actually went in favor of KB. But if we're looking at items here, Sion did complete that adaptive helm, making it very difficult, if ever possible, for Kennen to fight him. He's just going to shrug off all damage that Kennen does to him and walk back into lane. We see a 3-man play being looked up, but Zaruda decides to... Alright! Sion goes right in and decimating smashes behind him. I guess he's looking for that enemy that's on the other side of his body as he walks away from the mark of the storm.
Whoops.
Oh, that's a hard one to stomach. Well, we'll see Juice Me Mommy just going to take this tower without any minions around, and he's going to go that Hemo Plague into the pool and the tides of blood. He's going to walk away, though, as his burst is down, and he sees that Clumsy Chocobo is just in range. We'll see Slicing Maelstrom come out of Kennen, but maybe we all know that there's no chance of killing the Sion through this adaptive helm here, and Sion will simply just walk away.
Yeah, the Vladimir was able to get it back there in the middle of the jungle. Unfortunately, Sejuani was not able to catch him there. But the top lane is just going to be rough for the Kennen now because of how much magic resist the Sion has. It's going to be a little difficult though because the only 2 magic damage is the Vladimir and Kennen, so the solo lanes. So that Yasuo's later on, as he is 4-1 right now, is just going to be able to melt through the Sion at this moment. Absolutely.
The suggestions from the chat are for the Sion to build either Frozen Heart and Randuin's or both, and perhaps that'll make him unkillable in fights. Regardless, we see that Sion has taken over the lane now, with just Decimating Smashes and Soul Furnace just destroying these trades. There's no way Kennen can keep up without massive sustain. But we do see a 4-man play bottom as Caligma Bobboy sets up around this Nyx Drake. Do you think Bung and the rest of us should even consider contesting?
For the dragon here, I don't know. I think it's a Cloud Drake. I think you just give this over to them. I don't think the bot lane's in any shape or form to be able to fight right now. Kai'Sa still has not finished an item here, as Yasuo already has that static shiv, which is doubled by his passive.
That's a very solid point. We'll see Labyrinth 1898 is dedicated toward clearing out this red ward. Nearly gets trapped for his own life, but Juice Me Mommy comes around and just finishes off, and with 4 men, they'll take down the second turret of the game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, Clumsy Chocobo is on the Rift Herald right now. Oh.
But Zarudo lands that opening Sleepy Double Trouble and the Paddle Star onto Juice Me Mommy, but Juice Me Mommy just pulls out of it, and Gallia tries to ult the Zarudo, but does not get anything out of it, and 2 more drop on the side of the Bung and the Restless for clean kills on KB. However, during this time, Clumsy Chocobo, as you mentioned, did take that Herald, so perhaps they can turn that into power top.
Looks like it's going to immediately drop it in the top lane, so they're able to get that tower in the top lane for those 2 kills in the bot lane and the tower in the bot lane as well.
Well, as you said, that arrow went down and immediately they tried to even out some towers, but we see that Labyrinth 1898 and Bear Jr. are pushing down mid in an attempt to secure that second tower, but of last, that is not going to be possible.
Yeah, right now I think your win condition with TBR is to be able to slow the game down, get the Kai'Sa and at least a couple more items in order to fight these teams. And then the Sion needs to start building some armor here soon, otherwise he will get melted by the Yasuo, who is 50 CS ahead of his lane partner there, Samdillo. So we'll see if they're able to slow this game down and get some farm onto their AD carry. to help them out in this team fights later on.
Absolutely. I mean, Samdilla finally did complete an item. We're still waiting on Zawarudo to complete his first item. But looking at CS across the board, aside from the actual support champion, Caligma Babwe has a pretty comfortable lead in every single lane here.
Yeah, every lane's pretty much up in farm right now. The jungle is only about 10 CS down right now. Moving forward, they should be able to get the health and the tankiness out of the jungle and top lane for TBR. So we'll see if that comes into play. The counterpart to that though is the Vladimir and Yasuo late game is just immense. It's so strong.
That's a terrific point. Speaking of tankiness, though, if we look at Labyrinth 1898's builds here, being the only champion that can really be a tank on his team, he's elected to go the Warriors and into a Phage. How do you think this lack of true frontline tank will affect their late game team fighting?
And I think this is something that Labby has done every game that he's played Jarvan. He doesn't really build tanky on Jarvan, unless he falls behind. So I think right now he's up ahead early, so he feels he's comfortable enough to go with the full damage Jarvan coming in. But we'll see how this goes as we see the gank bot.
Wow, we see a terrific shield of Duran into Justice Punch and wins a war, but it seems that Membung is alone on this call. Samdilla had to finish out those 4 minions before joining this fight. But just on his own, this Galio is able to half health Kaligi.
Yeah, the Kaligi right now is he does have 2 items completed, so he does have the Zhonya's completed here, so he's going to be a little bit safe right now. But we'll see how that transpires into team fights later on. Because if TBR is able to just blow him up, then they might be able to. But we do see Baron started.
Wow, the classic Bear Jr. 20-minute Baron call. You heard it here first, folks. But as they do Baron, we see the Kaligi drop some slicing Maelstrom after getting hit by the shield of Duran. The Kaisa will come through and he'll pass that kill over to Kaisa. But none the wiser about this 20-minute Baron that Bear really often enjoys taking. And it goes down securing that early Baron. What do you think they can actually get with this super early Baron?
I think KB's rotations have just been immense this game, and I think that's why TBR is falling a little bit behind here. We saw the Yasuo and Braum go top lane, take out that outer turret, and then immediately rotate down to the Baron to get that another objective for themselves. So I think moving forward here, what you want to do with the Baron is kind of just do a split push. But we do see a teleport coming in from the Vladimir.
Wow, we see that Gerg 7 and Clumsy. Okay, we'll see that Mengbung drops to the turret, giving over no gold to Gerg 7. And Juice Me might have teleported in the wrong spot as Z is getting caught out. He gets hit by that Sleepy Double Trouble, and there are 4 healthy members around him as he goes into his Sanguine Pool, trying to push everybody away. Sejuani goes right after him, but that Hemo Plague has healed him for 75% of his health. It seems Zawarudo's caught out now, forcing his own flash. Sleepy Double Trouble on Gerg 7, but he puts up the Stand Behind Me and the Unbreakable to stay alive. San has taken no damage, even though he's been hit by like 50 different damage sources this fight. And he just walks out with 85% of his health remaining.
It's a little bit of a scrappy fight there from both teams, essentially. As we see the 3rd Cloud Drake going to be headed over to KB here. TBR just didn't focus one person. They weren't able to get that burst down onto one of the members of KB. As they all chase different champions in different directions. We saw Sejuani go over the wall, chase the Vladimir, but then you had the Braum and Kennen on the other side versus Zoe and Sion, and they unfortunately can't do much either. So hopefully before the next fight, the teams can recoup and start focusing one champion down. As we see the mid lane head down for TBR.
That's a very good point about that fight. It seems they need some clearer and concise shot calling on the side of the Bung and the Restless, but their game is not over yet as the scoreline is only 7-3 and somebody's on their side because the only dragons that have been taken by Caligma Babwe have been all Cloud Drakes. While that does allow them better rotation speed, it actually gives them 0 combat stats unless you count the 3% per dragon in combat as an actual combat stat. But we do see Caligma Babwe clearing out any extra possible gold that the Bung and the Restless could possibly have access to, and I guess that's just the advantage of having that early game lead in Baron. Caliggy's not going to be able to finish off that top tower, and it seems Caligma Babwe is just going to elect to go back toward these waves.
Yeah, I think right now for TBR, this is kind of where you slow the game down. I mean, essentially, they have Baron for another minute or so here. They're going to be pushing it, and the only outer towers left was that inner tower on the top lane. So the rest of it is in the base, and in order for them to kill you, they have to dive you here. So because they have no ranged champions other than Kennen and Vladimir, who are both split pushing in side lanes.
That's a good point. Sion using an unstoppable onslaught to force Labby 1898 to use his flash out of the way, but a terrific Braum ult from Gurg stops the fight dead in its tracks, and Bung and the wrestlers retreat back to their tower. It seems Kaliki hasn't had enough as he proto-belts in and drops a slicing maelstrom followed by the Zanyas to keep himself safe. But as you said, they're so short range on the side of Caligula Baba. Oh my god, the Yasuo Steel Tempest catching both the Sejuani and the Kaisa, forcing his last breath to take him down, but Kaisa got out of that alive and forced another kill on Labyrinth 1898. Meanwhile, Juice Mimami was just pushing bot lane, got that inhibitor down, and forced open another tower. Wow, he just flashes forward in that Sanguine Pool Proto Belt, ties a blood combo onto Mungbo and immediately kills him. Sion's going to try his own into Decimating Smash and take on this 2v1, but alas, Yasuo melts through him as his armor items haven't come through successfully yet. Now it's just Zarudo and Samdilla on their own with his Sion Ghost. Zarudo nearly getting that Paddlestar kill on Juice Mimami, and Samdilla is running for his life. That Ignite not going to take down Juice Mimami, but Gurk7 does take the turret death to make sure his teammates survive. Keep the push alive. Clumsy Chocobo has respawned, and he's going to get this Quadra stack onto Bear Jr., but Bear Jr. is super healthy as he has that lifesteal off the Doran's Blade and his runes going on, and Conqueror. Samdilla back to the outer turret to save himself. The hero's entrance coming out of Membung, but not completing as Bear Jr.'s Steel Tempest tries to take him out. Winds of War, he's going to try to solo Bear Jr. unsuccessfully. Samdilla is going to run away and get hit by the Shuriken there. And Membung going to get taken down by Bear Jr. This incredibly scrappy extended fight going to result in over 7 kills for the side of Caligula Bobboy, 2 inhibitors, and 2 towers.
Yeah, unfortunately at the start of all of that, TBR left Samdilla alone in the bot lane versus Vladimir. Vladimir is just way stronger than Samdilla right now. And then basically it was just fight after fight after fight. TBR walking in 1v1 versus, or 1v2 versus Bear and Juice Mimami.
Perhaps maybe it was just desperation, but you do make a good point in that TBR can only fight together as they only really have 2 damage sources if you're not counting Cinderhulk from Sejuani. But the game's not over yet. 2 inhibitors definitely is not the end of the game. And we see that they're going to reset themselves. A good point has been made in chat about the fact that that was the first kill Kaliki has participated in all game at the 23-minute mark. Good for Kaliki.
His kill participation's not going to be very high this game, so we'll see how that goes. But we do see Bear Jr. 9-1-2 at 11 of the 14 kills as well, so.
Yeah, perhaps this will force out a Yasuo ban next game, as you see 2 tanks walking to the jungle trying to find some vision control. But everybody at this week of the LCS recognizes that if you're behind, you do need to control your own jungle with reds. Maybe you can get a catch out. So if you are the Bung and the Restless, what is your game plan? How do you avoid tilting? How do you win?
I think right now you just have to fight together as 5, be able to get that CC lock onto one of the carries, Bear Jr. or Juice Mimami, and burst them down and be able to kill them. We do see Baron picked up here by KB, so you obviously are going to have some trouble clearing out those waves, as the Baron minions are not necessarily the easiest thing to do when from behind.
Absolutely.
Easiest thing to kill from behind, so we'll see what they're able to do here. You know, we do see Samdilla on the 2 item spike with the Ginsu's and Storm Razors. However, Zarudo in the mid lane is still only on 1 item with the he's still trying to build up that Morel Namicon in order to keep the Vladimir down.
That's a very fair point. As they try to dive into this top turret, they're just going to take the turret as the Bung the Restless just walks away from them. No choice. Kaliki, Protobelt flashes forward. That Slicing Maelstrom doesn't even have to pop the Zanyas as it splits up the entire team of the Bung and the Restless, and they just have to walk away as Juice Mimami finishes off with his Hemoblade, ties a Blood Protobelt combo, and all that AoE damage we were talking about before cleans up the entire the Bung and the Restless team. And here they go as the finish. That must be the game, as there are no more members alive to, well, except for Zarudo, but doubtful that Zoe can wave clear against 3 healthy Baron members of Caligula Bobboy.
GG's coming out.
What a game played by teams, and congratulations to Caligula Bobboy for taking the first game in this series. Wow. If you so looking at MVPs before we talk about anything else, who would you give the MVP to on Caligma Bobway?
I think your MVP's got to be Bray Jr. I mean, I don't think there's much of a contest here. Although it's funny enough that Kaligi did do the most damage on the team, having only 5 kill participation of 18. But the uh, I think the MVP has to go over to Bear Jr.
I agree. If we're looking strictly at kill participation and probably shot calling, as Bear Jr. is the standout shot caller for his team, I do have to give it to Bear Jr. There's the classic meme of Kaligi for MVP, but a good shout out. I think good honorary MVP. I think actually has to go to Gerg7. Playing that Braum expertly, those unbreakables in the right spot, and dropping those ultimates dissuade fights coming out of Among the Restless.
Yeah,
Anyway, we are going to take a stream break here. Sorry, we'll go back
no,
to the point. We're going to take a stream break here to cut for video editing reasons. Don't go anywhere, chat. Game 2 is on its way.